Hey everybody, Todd Michael Putnam from Creative Adventure Tables, bringing you another adventure table idea, and this one is called A Little Adventure. A Little Adventure. And this one might be a little bit longer because there's a bit to it, but it's a really fun adventure. I'm extremely excited about it. I just got in the Kickstarter books for Shadowdark, which is fantastic. This is they're pocket-sized digest. Shadowdark is the RPG that my group has switched to several months ago. We've been playing it off the PDFs since the Kickstarter ended, but the hard copies just came in. The books are absolutely fantastic. There's more to them than that. This is the premium edition book. I actually still have this one. As you can see, I didn't bother to unwrap it because you know what? It's got all the same information. That one, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to save that in its wrapping, and who knows? Maybe someday it might be something. So I just decided to save that. The GM screens came in. I got two of them, so it would cover up my space, a little bit more. But there's fantastic artwork on them. It's all old school style artwork. It looks really great. So that's what's going on there. But because it's the new year 2024, this is going to be the first session of the new Shadowdark campaign, and A Little Adventure is going to be the zero level funnel. And for those who are not familiar, if you've ever played Dungeon Crawl Classics, you'd be familiar with this. But a zero level funnel is your characters don't start at level 1, they start at level 0. They're just basically normal people. They're a normal elf, a normal dwarf, a normal human, whatever it is. They're not, they're not adventurers yet, but they want to be. It's a funnel, meaning you're expected to die. The players create 4 characters apiece usually, and you basically just see who survives to the end of it. So they can actually become their level 1 character for the official campaign. So that's what a funnel is. And so it's all low hit points, very low, they're not going to be wearing weapons and armor and stuff. They don't have any of that. These are just like normal humans is what it normally is. But in A Little Adventure, I've got a nice little twist for it. So when the players wake up, they're going to wake up starting off trapped in a jail. They're going to be caught up in a jail cell. And the shorter version of it basically is this gentleman over here, which is the guard, is going to come walking by. And he is going to talk to them. This isn't going to be here. This is stuff I'll put in, it's all going to be covered in black poster board as usual. And then as they get to areas, I uncover them and put them on the table. But for purposes of while I'm running this for here, of course, I'll just have it all uncovered. But all they'll be able to see is this little section right here. And the guard will walk by and he'll basically remind them why they're in prison or in the local jail. And the reason is because that they had a really big bad night of carousing the other night. They were at the local bar at the Keep, and they were playing poker and stuff, and they kept losing their shirts and whatnot. And then they realized that the other people that they were playing poker with were cheating. So accusations were made, and plates and bar stools started flying, and things got completely out of hand. And the local guards had to come in because they basically trashed the place, and everybody got knocked out and dragged into the local jail, and they'd already been heavily drinking. So they wake up basically soaked in beer and ale with heads hurting, trying to piece together how they ended up here. And basically the local guard tells them that they're supposed to be in here only for the day, but he's actually going to leave them in there for a while because him and the rest of the guards, they like to drink. And Billy, the bartender that owns the tavern, let him know that it's going to take him at least a week to clean that place up, and that ticked off the guard here, and he's mad because he's not going to go be able to drink all week long because of in his mind, because of the player characters. So he's just going to let him sit in there for a while, and until he can get some beer, which should be about a week from now, the players can just sit in there. So a little bit unfair on the player side, and he's going to wander off. Well, a little while later, this fellow's going to show up here, kind of unkempt looking, and players aren't really sure where he came in from. He's definitely not a guard, and I'm going to play him sort of like a Sean Connery voice, like this, when he speaks to them. And he's going to offer them a little bit of an adventure. if they're interested, or they can just spend their time there for the next week, sobering up and letting the rats go away and chew at their toes. But if they decide to take him up on the adventure, what he's basically going to say is that he's got some friends that are in town here that are also being held captive, sort of like the players, through no fault of their own. And he would like the players to break them out and to help get them out of town. And if the players will help get them out of town, he'll reward the players. But his friends are special friends. The players will be able to figure out who his friends are very, very quickly on his own. They just need to follow the houses, and they'll figure it out real quick once they get outdoors. And if the players are up to it, he'll break them out. So if the players agree, and what he does is he casts a spell, and he's going to turn them all. As I pull these out, he's going to turn them all into these guys, squirrels. He's going to turn each of the players into a not human-sized, or an actual squirrel-sized squirrels, but with their clothes and stuff still on. So they're going to end up being little squirrels, little chipmunks, or whatever it is, small enough that they can then escape through the bars. He doesn't have to open up the gates because they'll just be able to wiggle right through the bars. And he will disappear. So the players will head out through the bars and try and find their way out. And when they do, they're going to come across these two big guard dogs right here. Zeus and Apollo are going to be the names of the guard dogs. And those guard dogs they're gonna see and smell squirrels, and they're gonna start chasing after them. The players will be running around. They might run back into their cell. They might run around the corner here. But basically, they have to escape the guard dogs. And eventually, what they're going to realize is they either have to run faster than the guard. Well, they're going to have to run faster than the guard dogs, no matter what. And there's like this little sewer grate for overdrain here. And if they do that, inside of that, there's some things coming up, like a secret room coming up, and then there's a hole in the ceiling that they could drop down and then quickly run over to here where they can escape through the gate so that the guard dogs wouldn't see them coming, basically. There's a way around that. Or they might just try and make the mad dash for it and risk basically getting eaten by the guard dogs. It's totally up to the players. If they come up here, though, there's a big burrowing spider, a tarantula. Now, don't forget, these guys are actually just squirrel size. So a tarantula, that could be a real danger for them, and they're gonna run the risk of maybe one of them getting chomped down by the tarantula. Again, this is the whole idea of the funnel of basically chewing through characters and seeing who can survive and having crazy, silly deaths and whatnot. So that's what they're basically going to do. Do we try and outrun the dogs? Are we going to try and escape through this little sewer grate through and see if we can find, oh, look, there's an alternate way we can drop down. It brings us closer to there. Whatever the case may be. Sneak through these gates through here. This is the main guard post. There's just one guard there. And then here, there's this next room is going to be an actual guard barracks. And in the barracks, there's going to be a signpost that's up here, and on that signpost there's going to be two pieces of information that the characters are interested in. The first is that it's payday, and that all the guards should go and get paid. And the second is that there's some entertainment coming at the end of the week in the form of, and this is something they apparently actually did in medieval times, there's a big bear that they've captured, and then they've got a pack of wolves, and they basically set them in there and they let the pack of wolves go after the bear and see who wins, kind of a thing. Very rather barbaric type entertainment. And immediately it should be clear that those captured animals, both the bear and the wolves, are the ones who are the friends of the druid who changed them all into little squirrels. Clearly those are the friends that the druid needs to have escaped from the town, because he certainly doesn't want to have his friends thrown into an arena pit and basically fighting each other to death. They're there through no fault of their own, and so he wants the players to help release that. But while they're in here, there's a number of sleeping guards that are on those beds, and because they're squirrels, they could just skip through here very easily and move through the gates and not have any problems. But it's payday, and there's belt pouches on there. Sorry for my fingers getting in the way. There's belt pouches on some of these guards, so they can try and make stealth checks and whatnot, because a belt pouch is just about big enough to be a backpack for a squirrel. So if they want to get a little coin in their pockets, they can do that, and they can try and steal that. But once they steal the coin, if they've got a coin purse on their back, their stealth checks get a little bit harder, because now you've got the jiggling of the coin that's going on. So instead of having advantage on their stealth checks, it would just be straight normal stealth checks for them as they go through. But there's an opportunity for them to try and get some coin. They come through into a small room here where basically like a small dining area for the guards, but there's nothing going on in here. Oh, I'm missing a door here. But when they come to this area here, they look through. They're just going to see, they're not going to see this guy. They're just going to see and smell, because their sense of smell is going to be greatly increased as a squirrel. Sense of food and cooking and oils and stuff like that. And they're also going to see the legs of what turns out to be the chef that's over here, just laying down. But it's clear that this is a kitchen. Well, when they go in to investigate, they're going to see that the cook has been attacked, basically, and his eyes have been clawed out, and he's got all kinds of small bite marks and stuff on him. And when that happens, that's when the ambush starts. Because the druid didn't just release them. He released a bunch of the other prisoners as well, and it's whoever gets his friends out first are the ones that he's going to change back into human beings. So I wasn't going off the script when I was talking about earlier, so I missed that point. But that's a point that the druid will let them know is, hey, there are other prisoners that I've let out, and it's basically a race to get my friends out. Whoever can get my friends out first, those are the ones. And when you get them out, escape from out of the keep itself, and they will know how to go to my secret, lair out in the woods, and I will then turn you back into humans or whatever you were, and plus reward you with some other things for helping my friends. Well, some of the other people that he let out were bandits, and those bandits, those highwaymen, those guys got turned into raccoons, where they've got their little bandit masks on. So a swarm of bandits with raccoons wielding butter knives and other small things and utensils and whatnot, and throwing plates. They get into a huge food fight right here in the kitchen, beating each other up. Because the raccoons want to stop any competition from getting to the animals first to release them. And they're bandits, so they're not going to play nice. So the players have to deal with them. So that becomes a big food fight situation where they're throwing plates and they're knocking tables over, and they're jumping off from high places at each other, and they're trying to stab each other with butter knives and all kinds of crazy stuff that's going on. So they'll do that big fight there, and that'll be a big combat fight for them. Then in the next room over, this room right here, there's a hole in the door, so they're going to be able to squeak through, and they'll get into this room here that's apparently a storage room, but the door is locked, and there's no holes in it. So they're stuck in this room until somebody opens that door. And after a little while, the door, you'll hear some jiggling for the keys, somebody fussing about trying to remember where the keys were, and that's an opportunity for them to hide in all these crates and stuff. And a guard will come in here that's going to be looking for bottles of wine that he had stashed in there, and the players get to make some stealth checks to try and hide because remember, again, they're just squirrel size. So they're going to try and hide in all these little nooks and crannies and behind these barrels and bags and stuff like that. And as he's foraging around in certain areas, they can try and jet through the door and escape out when he's not looking because his attention is focused elsewhere. They could attempt to attack the guard directly, but that probably wouldn't end up too well for them because he's got a big normal sword that he could beat them with. And they've just got their little rat claws and maybe a spoon or a knife or something. So anyways, they make it out there and they go up the stairs and they go out to the outside. And that brings us to the outside portion of the adventure. This whole section over here. So when they go outside, they'll realize very quickly that the streets are just absolutely filled with people. Just filled with people. And so the smart thing for them to do is either to go back through the alleyways or to climb up to the top of the roofs. The alleyways are filled with a whole bunch of bums, hobos and whatnot, who are basically scrounging for a meal. That's probably not going to be a wise choice for them, because a bunch of squirrels might be a meal for people like that. But they can try if they want. They can try and stealth their way through. They could try and run as fast as they can. Or they can try climbing up to the top here and jumping across the roofs like squirrels. And so I have these little ketchup holder things that I cut some V shapes into them that you put on top of the roofs. And then you can just literally pop the characters. You can see I've got a few squirrels on there right now. And that way I can do actual rooftop battles and stuff and motions across the top. And one of the other teams has been turned into crows. And so the crows are going to see the squirrels come out and realize, because they're dressed like people, squirrel people, they're also going to want to stop them just like the raccoons did. And so they're going to come flying down, and they're going to try and grab the squirrels, the players, and then zoom back up into the sky and drop them from like 30 feet or whatever it is to try and kill them that way. So that's their way of trying to whittle down the funnel in the competition. And the players, of course, can stab back with their butter knives, or try and scratch with their claws or whatever, or try and hide as they make it across the rooftops to get to the next section. Eventually, they battle off the crows, hopefully. However many don't make it. And then they come to an area that's too far to jump. They can't jump from this roof here all the way to that roof over there. They're too small. They're just squirrels. And there's a lot of people right here in front of this section. So just running across this, going down and running across, probably not a great idea, because don't forget, they might be squirrels, but they're still in human clothing dress, and it's not, the magic doesn't let them take it off. They're wearing, smocks and sweaters and whatever it is that they're wearing, so they definitely don't look like normal squirrels. And it's a very bad idea to get everybody's attention, because if they get everybody's attention any sooner than they have to, that's gonna not go well for them. Remember, they've got a mission. They've got to get to a certain place and release these animals. And they can't do that if they're being hunted by everybody. So the druid will have warned them to keep as low profile as possible until they have no choice, whenever that might be. But this probably isn't it. So they can go down, they can scamper down the walls here, and then come into this little back alleyway. And in this back alleyway is filled with another group of competitors who've been changed into rats. Not were-rats, mind you, but they're just actual rats. But again, they're wearing cloaks and robes and stuff like that. These are more competitors that are also trying to free the animals. But as soon as they saw the competition coming down, they've decided that they're going to try and take the squirrels out too. And so there's a big backway fight between the squirrels and the rats. So with the raccoons, these guys were basically throwing plates and doing butter knives and food and stuff like that. With the crows, they're basically swooping down, trying to pick up the squirrels and drop them from a high height. They're doing something different. And then the rats are going to try and swarm. So 3 of them at a time are going to attack each of the individual players, trying to swarm the characters and claw them to death. Now, their claws only do 1 point of damage, but 0-level characters only have 1 to 4 hit points. So it doesn't take much to kill them in a 0-level character in Shadowdark or in Dungeon Crawl Classics. So dangerous times. So they have that blast fight here with a whole bunch of rats, competing team. And then they climb up onto the rooftops again, and they come around, and finally, when they get to this roof over here, their sense of smell takes precedence, and they realize, oh, this is the place. They can smell animals inside, large animals. When they go inside, yes, indeed, inside this barn, there's basically going to be a caged bear, there's going to be a caged group of wolves together. There's going to be a sleeping, zookeeper, if you will, and it's a simple matter. All they got to do is pickpocket the keys from him and let them out. But that's when things change. When they let the animals out, there's no way that they can run across the rooftops anymore. The alleyways and stuff are basically too small for the bear and the wolves to fit through. So they're basically going to have to take to the streets and make the run for it at this point. And I've got these guys right here, like a big bear and some wolves and stuff. That's what they're going to be. I can pull those guys out and I'll put them right here, and they're going to start making the run. Now, just to add a little humor to these things, I'm going to add some epic music to it. Those of you who are familiar with it, it's called the Ride of the Valkyries. And I've got these little fun buttons that I use. So when they first break out, in order to add that epic tension of squirrels riding on the back of wolves and bears and stuff, I'll press this button. It just adds a little drama to it, right? It just adds that over-the-top ridiculous drama. But anyways, so the characters then start running down this section here, or riding on the back of the wolves. Of course, the townsfolk start running out of the way, but there's going to be patrols of guards here that have short bows, and they're going to take shots at the wolves and at the bear as they run towards them. They're going to swing at them with their swords as they get them. The players are going to have choices. Are they going to try and use like the strength of the bear to bull through them? Are they going to try to use the agility of the wolves or whatever it is in order to just run around them? Are they going to try and do an intimidation thing where they growl and they, in order to hopefully scare them out of their way? Players get those choice there. Or they can attack them if they want. And they can have the bears and the wolves actually just do outright attacks while they're riding it, and I'll let them make the rolls. But there'll be some combat or some avoidance, however they want to handle it here. And then if the town's guard are still alive, any of them are still alive, as they race past, they'll get one more shot. They come around this corner here, and there's another set of guards that basically repeats that tactic that's going on. Of course, all the people run to the side. There's all kinds of pandemonium and mayhem that's going on in the streets because people are just seeing this giant bear and these wolves, and there's these squirrels and chickmunks that are riding on the back wielding butter knives that are like screaming and yee-hawing and whatnot. Now, they're only going to be chittering in chickmunk sounds or in squirrel sounds. They can't actually talk. They can communicate to each other, but if they make their little chittering sounds, each of the players can understand each other. But for everybody else, it just sounds like, chickmunks yelling and screaming. But anyways, they're going to have their little chickmunk war faces going on and that whole thing. So there's going to be all kinds of crazy pandemonium. And then the players are going to run down this final stretch to the gate to freedom. And while they do that, there's guards that are on the town walls that, having heard all of this, turn around, and they're going to take showers of arrows to try and stop the characters by try to bring down the escaping wolves and bear before they can make it over here to the gate, which is what this scene is showing right here, right? So, and hopefully the players can make it through there. Once they make it outside the gate, though, the adventure isn't quite over yet. So then the bear and the wolves kind of take over. Instead of being guided by the characters, they know where the druid's hideout is. And so they're going to take the characters on a ride for several hours deep into the woods until they get to the druid, who calls himself the hermit, by the way. And the druid will the hermit will give a short speech and whatnot, and he'll thank the players for returning his friends alive to them. Hopefully all the wolves made it. Hopefully the bear made it. But he'll be any of them that are wounded, he's going to tend to them with his magical spells and whatnot, and he will thank the players, and he will say that they are now a friend of the forest. Now remember, they're all 0 level characters, right? So he'll say that they're all friends of the forest, and he'll give them each a small bag of coins that they can then use, which basically that bag of coins will be the random 2d6 times 5, which is what the starting gold amount is in Shadowdark for first level characters. So they'll get a random amount of gold so they can buy their equipment and stuff, plus whatever they happen to have stolen off of the guards. There's be a certain amount of coins that's in there. And then, of course, he's going to transform them back into their human selves, so that they're back to or human or dwarf or elf or whatever race, player character race that they are. So they'll be transferred back into that. But then he's also going to give them some knowledge. In my game, one of the new things I'm going to do is there's an opportunity to create potions of healing and whatnot by finding the ingredients throughout the dungeon, and then you can combine them and create stuff. This hermit druid is going to teach them the skill of how to create magic healing potions by saying, if you have this ingredient and this ingredient and this ingredient and you mix them together, you can create yourself a potion of healing. So be on the lookout for them as you're going through your adventures and your travels and whatnot. Now, they'll be rare ingredients, but I'll sprinkle them throughout the adventures so they can find them, so they can create their own healing potion. So it's an extra little nugget that they get so that they can produce their own instead of only just finding them directly. So then the end of it all, as we wind up coming close to 25 minutes here, sorry for the length of this one, they have to walk their way back, and it's going to take them basically a day to walk all the way back to the keep itself. Now, remember, when they escaped, they were squirrels, so nobody can identify them by looks, right? So then when they finally come back to the gate, they're going to see that the guards are there, and they're checking everybody as they come in, and they're handing out these flyers. And the gate guard is going to say to them, hey, I handed out flyers. Have you seen these people? And I created these flyers, these wanted flyers right here of squirrels escaping the capital or the citadel. Have you seen these subjects? Destruction of property, of public property, dangerous and disorderly conduct, suspected of murdering a cook, considered armed and extremely dangerous. So I created these wanted posters that I can hand to each of the players, so they can keep them as a memory from the time that they escaped from the keep as squirrels, and that they are wanted in their squirrel form. So that's it. That is the A Little Adventure, and it's a little adventure because obviously they get turned into squirrels for the whole experience. So that's it. That's going to be my first official Shadowdark 0 level adventure. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and leave any comments if you enjoy the content. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next session. You guys take care, and I'll see you then. Bye.